All right, ladies and gentlemen, please find your seats. Please find your seats. I have made exactly enough seats for all of you but one. You don't want to be the last one, the only one standing at the back. Find your, it's okay, I'm portable. I've got the, all right. Now, if you have an empty seat beside you, please raise your hand. Who's got a single? Who's got a single? Raise your hand if there's an empty seat beside. There's no empty seats beside you. Yes, an empty seat. Folks in the back, there are some empty seats. Josh, you look lost. Empty seat right here in the splash zone. You're going to love it. Amazing. Great empty seats up here. Bring it in. Alex.
For the intro anyway.
Raise your hand. All right. All right. Please find your seats. We are about to begin tonight's event. You've had your coffee. All right, next time, no caffeine for you guys. That's it. Oh my goodness. All right, there's only one way to do it. You're not. All right, folks, listen up. We've got an amazing agenda for you. I don't want you to miss one moment of knowledge. We'll have tons of time after tonight's event to continue to network and talk because we have the world famous TechTO after party happening. Rachel, where's it happening? East of Brunswick. Is the name of the place east of Brunswick, or are those the directions to get there? It's both. It's both east of Brunswick and called East of Brunswick? Now, that is some amazing SEO right there. You're like, I'm looking for a drink east of Brunswick, and you find it. Don't worry. We will put it up on the slides afterwards so no one will be lost. We will not lose any of you on the way to the after party. All right, quick show of hands. Who here has been to a TechTO event before? Keep them up. Amazing. Who has been to more than one TechTO event before? Who has been to more than 5 TechTO events before? Who's been to more than 10? Yeah, you're pretty close. You're pretty close. We've got a few standing up. Let's find out why people keep coming back to TechTO.
Great community.
Oh, come on, guys. Get into it. Get into it. Nay.
Hoverboard.
The hoverboard. Who doesn't cite the hoverboard as a reason? And Adam, just yell it out. Why do you keep coming back? Meet new people. Even after all these years, it's still new people? Yep. All right. It's a shortcut to grow your network. Here's what we do at TechTO. For 9 years, every single month, we bring the technology community together to meet, learn, and grow. It's that easy. We hope that tonight you will meet somebody new, you will learn something new, and you will get insights, knowledge, networking community to grow your business, grow yourself, grow your career, grow your technology startup, whatever it is you need. Now, new show of hands, you ready? Some of you are feeling left out because it might be your very first time here. If it is your very first time at TechTO, please raise your hands, and everyone whose hands are down, give these folks a round of applause for making it to their very first TechTO. How did you find out about TechTO?
Well, Jules right here told me about it.
Blaming the friend. Now, what's the relationship here? Is she your boss?
She's my colleague.
Colleague, voluntold to come to TechTO. Now, did you know the number one way that people find out about TechTO is through a friend or colleague? So you got the number one answer on the board. If you have another friend or colleague, now I don't want to push the limits. I know the community here, this might be everybody, but if you have one more friend or colleague, you can invite them to the next one. All right, who else was here for the first time? You were here for your first time. How did you hear about TechTO?
My professor told me about it.
It was assigned classwork. Now that's what we call a channel partnership. We're going to develop that one. It's going to be on the syllabus. Okay, and anyone here find out about us on the internet? Yeah, a few people. What did you search to find us?
The biggest tech community in Toronto.
Those were the keywords, the biggest tech community in Toronto. And where did you search that from, sir? Where were you when you searched for that?
Here in Toronto.
Yeah, but okay, 2 weeks ago, where were you?
I was here.
I thought you said you came to Canada 2 weeks ago. Okay, but 3 weeks ago.
Okay, I moved from Ukraine.
Oh, there we go. Brand new to Canada. First thing he did was search for this community. Is there anyone else here who is new to Canada? Let's see that show. Awesome. Is anyone here for this year? Anyone here can beat 2 weeks? Anyone here come last week? Yesterday? Straight from the airport? Unbelievable. This community grows when we bring in new talent. I mean, I don't want to get too far ahead on the policy recommendations for our candidates up front. And I know that this is a municipal junction here, but we love bringing new folks into this community from all over. They bring incredible perspective. They bring new approaches. They bring skills that we desperately need to grow this community. All right. So, hey, with that, we want you to get active. Anyone have a smartphone? If we could just turn the ringer off, please. Okay. If anyone still has their ringer on. Does anyone have the ringer on anymore? No, I don't think so. But we want you to stay active. If you hear something that you like, if you see a cool image that you want to share, get on social media and use the hashtag TechTO. Our preferred networks tonight are Twitter, Instagram, and my personal favorite, the coolest network of all, LinkedIn. Love it. It's going to be great. And that way, if you need to follow up with something, you can always check out the hashtag TechTO on Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Alex, you'll be on TikTok all night long, I'm pretty sure. You get to one person. No, the algorithm works in mysterious ways, man. Yeah, you're going to be big in China. It's going to be great. Okay, so here's our agenda tonight. First, this is cool. We have a tech talk with some of our mayoral candidates. So there is a shift happening in policy and direction of the city, and the tech community is going to be here first. I believe that when did the applications go in? Today, at what time? They rushed straight from City Hall here to court us. This is going to be amazing. We're the first stop. This is unbelievable. We're going to welcome some unbelievable candidates. We're going to hear what they have to say. Then finally, we've got two incredible leaders going to be giving presentations to share their knowledge with us. We have Eva here and Liran here from Two Small Fish Ventures and from Benchside. Super excited to learn and grow with them. And then finally, we have Hussein here, longtime TechTO member, multiple companies. He started way back in the day. And there may be, stay around to the end, because there may be, you're on the edge of your seat, a surprise announcement. Ooh. All right. And with this, we're going to go through a couple partner announcements really quickly. First, we'll do a land acknowledgement. Brent, want to come up? Hey, thanks, man.
Hi, folks. My name's Brett Hendry, Director of Strategic Events here at Rotman. I just want to give a big, warm welcome to the whole TechTO community, which we're so excited to have here at Rotman. As we do with all of our events here at the university, we begin with a land acknowledgement. So I'd like to recognize this land on which the University of Toronto operates. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. Today, this meeting place is still home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we're grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land. Here at Rotman, we believe in taking insight into action and to building communities of entrepreneurs and leaders, and we're always excited to do that with like-minded organizations, and we so admire everything that TechTO has done to create this incredible community. We're excited to collaborate on this event and hear from all the great speakers, including some alum from Rotman. So have a great event, and we hope to see you back here at Rotman for an event or maybe one of our programs.
All right, give it up.
Thank you.
All right, next, we got the Icon Talent Partners crew. Who's going to rep tonight? Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. You can do that. Yeah, no, come on, get on. You take the mic.
Sure. I hope there's not too much reverb right now, you know. No, it's okay. I'll just use this. Yeah, so my name is Robert Wan. I'm here with Icon Talent Partners. Icon Talent Partners is an organization started by my mentor, Derek Raphael. He's a former VC. He started Antler, which is a pretty big VC here in Toronto, and he's since retired to do something even more amazing. I didn't think this man could do something even more amazing than that, but he continues to top it out every single year. Anyways, Icon Talent Partner is a organization dedicated to equalizing the opportunities available to all people. As he always says, and this is our motto, talent is everywhere, but opportunity is not. And that's really what we're here to try to help. There is a huge untapped pool of talent out there, and we're here to try to bring that to fore. So that's Talent Partners. Thank you.
It was awesome. Impromptu. Didn't even know he was speaking. Came up and crushed it. Unbelievable. Absolutely love it. And our best friends from the DMZ are here. Or I like to say the DMZ.
Thanks a lot, Jason. Hi, everyone. My name is Darren Chiverach, and I am part of the DMZ. We are the #1 university-based incubator in the world. But you know what? We didn't do that all alone. We did that by supporting incredible Toronto startups. What we do at the DMZ is we incubate seed and pre-seed startups through a variety of programs that folks can come at the ideation stage all the way up to when they're ready for incubation. With that being said, we provide them with coaching, customers, capital, and community to help them grow. And we've done some pretty incredible things. So we've actually incubated over 800 startups and helped them raise just over $1.95 billion. So thanks very much. I'm going to make this short and sweet. We are here tonight. If you see anybody wearing a black DMZ shirt, come and chat with us, and we'd love to talk to you about how we can support you.
As you can see, we are bipartisan in every sense of the word here. We should probably do a better job at screening our sponsors, depending on our venue. Nice. Okay, so folks, this is pretty cool. If you haven't been to a TechTO before, we're about to have some incredible people get up on stage and share their insights, their knowledge, their worldviews, their perspectives with you to help you grow. But you all have incredible insights and are building cool things every single day. And I want to give you the opportunity to take the mic and share with the community. What will you share? It's really up to you. What would you share, Liran? What would you share?
I'm actually going to share a bit later. So.
Okay. The speakers get 5 minutes to share. Okay, that's not fair. But you can share maybe a small win that you're celebrating. Maybe there's a challenge that you need some help with. Maybe you're hiring. Maybe you're getting ready to take the leap to entrepreneurship for your first time. You're looking for a co-founder. You're looking for encouragement. Whatever it is, share it with the community. All I'm going to ask in exchange for 10 seconds on the mic is that you post your announcement afterwards, maybe with a selfie or a photo, using the hashtag TechTO. And that way, we can add each other on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram, and we can find the announcements. We can and we can help support each other, and we can help win together. Does that sound good? That's the trade. 10 seconds, social media post. 10 seconds, TechTO trends, right? 10 seconds, more new people. We're going to take 10 announcements. That's it. I'm going to start here. I'm going to end there. Once I roll past you, that's it. That's all. You got to raise your hand. So decide now if you want to commit to a 10-second announcement. You will get 10 seconds. And here, you want to show us how to do a 10-second announcement, TechTO? All right, JP, you got this. Show us how it is done.
Hi, everyone. This is my first TechTO event, but I'm actually really excited to meet everyone. So my name is JP. I guess I'll just share. So I started my first company 2 years ago. It's a software dev consultancy. It's called North PND. So if you want to chat with me, can I give the website? No? It's spelled North, North, PN, like normal, D.com. But come chat with me if you want. Thanks, guys. Oh, sorry. Excited to meet everyone.
Come on, round of applause. That takes a lot. That takes a lot of courage. You know what else takes a little bit of courage, JP? Are you open to some feedback? Amazing. And this is feedback I'm going to give you to help everybody here. You killed it. You were excited. You were energetic. It's your first time here on the mic. I love to see that. Now, time management skills. Okay, you get 10 seconds. We're strict with those 10 seconds, all right? And I love that you had a call to action at the end, which was the website. Perfect. Think about what your call to action is going to be. Now, get the phone out. Get that on LinkedIn so people can find you. Check that website out. You don't have to spell it. They'll find it on LinkedIn, and they're going to visit you, and they're probably, I hope you scale up your servers because the traffic is coming. All right, now we're going to hold all of our applause until the end, and then we're going to do one big round of applause for everyone. Okay, you ready?
Hi, I'm Tom from Codebusters, and we just successfully completed our third mentorship selection program where we give brand new developers a 6-month paid internship to learn how to be the best developers. We hire from the blue ocean, not the red ocean, so we can pick people based on their skill, their potential, not fighting over skills, because skills can be taught, but qualities cannot. Thank you. Codebusters.
You got the .com on that Codebusters, or are we talking .ca?
Hello, everyone. My name is Farzane. I am from Northeastern University here in Toronto. And if you are looking to hire some amazing master's level co-op students, please come find me afterwards. Thank you.
Fantastic. And they don't even need to find you in real life because they can find you virtually searching the hashtag. Oh, you guys.
Hey everyone, my name is Mario. If your company is having tech problems, can't scale, or don't have a tech executive, No Binary is your tech strategy partner. We are a team of fractional CTOs helping small startups go through the strategy on technology. Just come find me on the after party or on hashtag TechTO on LinkedIn.
Good recovery. Good recovery.
Hi, everyone. My name is Molly Willits. I work for an organization called FinTech Cadence. It's fintechcadence.com. We're going to be recruiting for our Innovate Financial Health Lab program starting in May. So that is for pre-seed to seed stage startups who are focused on financial inclusion and financial health in Toronto. We also are hiring for a couple of positions in marketing and partnerships. So find me if you're interested.
Hi everyone, I'm Bijan. Recently moved back from San Francisco to Toronto. Very excited to be here. If you're a product manager or a tech lead, you've probably hated the experience of creating detailed tickets for the engineering team. That's why we built this tool called productmonkey.ai that takes the images of your product design files or process flow and magically turns it into detailed tickets with acceptance criteria for the engineering team. It's really magical, takes a few seconds, and everything moves much faster. Check us out, productmonkey.ai. First 10 people from here who try it out, they get free lifetime access. Thank you.
Lifetime access. How much do you think that's going to cost you? Have you factored in like the actuarial tables? And this is a big value. This is crazy. Okay, we're going to do 4 more. I'm on the clock here. Got a couple of good ones here.
Hey everyone, my name is Amar. I just moved to Canada 6 months ago. So what we do is that we help content creators streamline their businesses in one place. At the end of the day, content creators are solopreneurs. They find it really hard to monetize their business, run it, and create different products. We help them with the monetization, with introducing new products and doing all in one place. If you know any solopreneurs, content creators that need help, our company is called letstribe.app. See you at the TechTO.
Nice. All right, 3 more. Are we learning new things? Are we meeting folks? It's pretty cool, right?
Hi, my name is Ramsey. I'm from More Neighbors Toronto. I work in tech, and I see just how bad the housing crisis is today and how it's creating a huge brain drain in our city. So check us out online if you want to help with that. Thanks.
If only there were people in this room that could help with that. Yes, there are.
Hey, if you're a dating app user or wannabe and you don't like what's traditionally out there, check out Quickity on the Apple Store right now. It's not on Android, unfortunately, but coming. So that's Quickity, Kwickadee.
Now, you know that BlogTO rated TechTO the #1 place in Toronto to find a boyfriend. So after tonight, you might not need an online dating solution. This could be it. All right, our last announcement. When you volunteer, you get an announcement. Here we go.
Hi, everyone. I'm currently a kid running Canada's largest student-held tech conference. We're mainly doing AI startups, even a pitch showcase. So we're currently looking for people that want to work with us, speakers, sponsors, or any idea that you want. Feel free to reach us at our website, cutc.ca. Thank you, everyone.
All right, and give a round of applause to everyone that participated. If I missed you this time, there is always next month for all the folks. And I will also say that the folks wearing the TechTO t-shirt, are volunteering to help make the tech community amazing. They're going to put away their phones right now, look like they're really busy. You're going to turn around and give them a round of applause. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, everybody. All right. What am I doing here? All right. I think that will go viral. Sweet. Now, next up, this is the first part of our agenda. I'm super excited. You have strap in. You have 70 minutes of content coming at you. All right. It is less than a major motion picture. It is 1/3 of Avatar, if you guys felt that. And it is fully in 3D. All right. It's going to be great. So without further ado, I'm not giving it to you, Alex. I'm going to give it right to, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to host our candidate. I don't want to call it a debate. What is it? Welcome, meet and greet. Debate. Siri Agrell. Welcome, Siri.
Hi, everybody. My name is Siri. Yes, like the iPhone, but I'm not going to take any of your questions. I have worked in tech. I ran incubator. It was #1 in terms of throwing parties. It was called 111. And I've worked in government and I've worked in politics. I know that you guys are all thinking about your companies, about your products, about your customers. You're preoccupied with your own lives. But we all know that there are outside factors that can also impact our success. We can be impacted by banking regulations, say, or by the temperament of who owns Twitter, or by, supply chain management, something none of us had probably heard about a couple years ago. But we're doing something tonight because the way this city runs is going to affect you as well. I'm sure a lot of you live in this city. The way this city works will affect your lives, it will affect your families, and it will affect your companies. Whether you can afford to live here, whether you can hire people who can afford to live here, whether people want to come here, whether they can get around, whether they can feel safe. All of that is decided and influenced by the people who run this city. We are about to have a mayoral election in this city. It's going to be, somebody help me out, in June 26th. Got it. In June 26th. It's our second one. There was a bit of a situation, so we're having another one. But this is important, and we're going to introduce you to some of the candidates who are running tonight. It's a chance for you to get to know them a little bit, to know their names, to Google them, to get involved, to reach out and ask questions, and think about what kind of city you want to live in. This is an important decision. We are essentially hiring the CEO of one of Canada's biggest corporations. The City of Toronto has a $16 billion annual operating budget. They cannot run a deficit. They have to balance their books every year. They have a unionized workforce of more than 40,000 people. They have partners in the federal and provincial governments who you have to deal with. They have a very, very hard cap table. It's a hard job, and we need amazing people to do it. So we're going to introduce you tonight to some of the people who are raising their hand for that job, and I'm really excited to have them all here. We're going to do things a little bit differently. We're going to give them 2 minutes each to come up and tell you about themselves, and then we're going to do a little bit of a lightning round. We're going to stand them all up here. We're going to give them the tech sector special, the whiteboard, and I'm going to throw some questions at them, and they're all going to show us their answers at the same time because we want to see if they can operate on their toes a little bit. Because Jason and Alex are very savvy operators, after each one of them speaks, we're going to take a picture of each of them together because they know that one of these people could be your next mayor and they want to have some leverage when that happens. So we're going to pause for a picture every time. That is smart. That is strategy, guys. Okay, pay attention. We wanted this to be fair, and so instead of me deciding who speaks first, apparently the TechTO had ChatGPT do it. I hope they asked it a nice, fair, neutral question. But ChatGPT chose the order, so I'm going to call them up one at a time to speak at the podium, and they can introduce themselves. So first up in our lineup, we have Rob Davies. Can we hold up here? Okay, hold that.
Well, thank you very much. So this is an analog moment, right? I've got my prop here, and people are like, who's the weirdo with the stolen street sign? And I'm used to people calling me that because for a long time, I faced discrimination. I was an Android user. But in all seriousness, this morning when I launched my campaign for mayor of Toronto, I had this prop. And City Council a year and a half ago voted to change the name of this street at a cost of $6 million and possibly 59 others at a cost of $21 million. And I thought to myself, I care more about the person who might be homeless sleeping under this sign than I do about the words written on this sign. And so for me, and the reason I'm running is because I think this is a measure of misguided priorities and a bit of wasteful spending. And I know that the council, I know many of them, and some of them are even like me. They are well-intentioned, but it doesn't preclude them from making mistakes. And I think this was a mistake. So I'm running because I think this is money that should be dedicated to things that are a priority. Making our subways safe, caring for homeless, making sure that we provide services to seniors. And I've been saying for the last few weeks that I want to make the city safer, cleaner, and kinder. You know, one of my competitors got into a lot of trouble because he was advocating for homeless people who were evicted from an encampment. And I kind of think he was right to be criticizing the city of Toronto, because we need to be kinder. If we don't take care of people who are homeless, they're going to be on your subway and they're going to be in libraries and they're in crisis. So we can't have a safer city unless we have a kinder city. So yes, you can take a picture. I'm going to drop the mic. No, I'm not going to drop the mic. I'm just kidding. I'm going to hand you the mic.
These guys. Thank you. Yeah. We're going to make sure that you guys have the websites for all these candidates. So if you have more questions, you want to find out more, you can Google them after the event, find out more about what they're all about. Okay, thank you. Next in our lineup, and I'm going to get you guys to run City Council because you are tight on time and I like it. Next in our lineup is Gail Penalosa.
Thank you. I heard people were asking that you need people, you need talent. As mayor, that is going to be my top priority. How to retain and how to attract the best people. I mean, we're going to grow by over 50% the population in the GTHA, but are we going to get the cream of the crop or are we going to get the leftovers? And Toronto is not working. In the last campaign, I walked every ward, almost every neighborhood. And in 100 days, I got 100,000 votes. And people were saying Toronto's good, but not for me. The young people said it's good for the older, the downtown is good for the suburbs. Everybody said it's good, but for someone else. That's why I think Toronto should be good for everyone. That is my call of action. Toronto for everyone. Affordable, beautiful, and fun. I think that when I said affordable, it's about housing. We have failed horribly in the last 10 years or more on housing, horribly. Mobility, same thing. On social services, it's very clear. So that is affordable. When I'm saying beautiful, the streets, we gotta get the streets clean. We got contracts on the garbage, they don't work, and we don't cancel those contracts. And when I say fun, we need a city that is fun. 4 seasons. The libraries have to be open on 7 days a week. We gotta have the parks with full of activities. We gotta have festivals, winter festivals, summer festivals, everything, because we are competing. We are competing against how to attract the people. Canada is gonna have about 500,000 people every year. We're competing with Montreal and Vancouver and Calgary and Edmonton, but we're also competing against New York and Copenhagen and Melbourne and Paris and the world. And we can compete. But in order to compete, we got to have a Toronto that is good for everyone. That's why I invite you to help out in the process, because we got to do it together. We have failed horribly in the last 10 or 12 years. We got to do things radically different. but we can do it. This is not so much a technical issue, it's not so much a financial, it's a political one. So let's create a Toronto for everyone that is affordable, that is beautiful, and also that is fun. Thank you.
All right. Leverage picture about to be taken. And as they're doing that, I'm going to call up our next speaker, Mitzi Hunter.
Thank you, Siri, and good evening. This is quite the experience here. You know, I started off in tech, and it was a long time ago. I was the president of a technology incubator called Smart Toronto, the sister organization to Communitech. And, you know, I spent my time advocating for startups and new media companies, bringing them together with large information communications technology companies. And I remember I was walking near Queen's Park, and I met the minister responsible for overseeing the sector. And I remember telling him how excited I was about Mars Discovery District and the fact that he needed to fund that space for Toronto. And I remember he said to me, he said, Mitzi, thank you for telling me that, because we're just about to make a decision about what to do. And if I don't hear from people like you, I might make the wrong decision. And I think it's safe to say he made the right decision. Because when you think about the research and the innovation happening on University Corridor, the Mars Center is really critical to that. And, you know, I'm running to be the mayor of our city because I want a city where young people, people of all backgrounds, can live in our city, work in our city, play in our city. And right now, there's a question mark if that's going to be possible. And I don't want that to be Toronto's reality, because we are one of the greatest cities in the world, and what makes us great are all of you. It's the people. And so for me, I know Siri is coming here. For me, I want this to continue to be a city of possibilities, where you can just be walking down the street, collide with a cabinet minister, and change our city. Thank you.
Thanks, Mitzi. Honestly, I think every political event should be run like this. Tight, it's great. Okay, next to the podium is Brad Bradford.
Thanks very much, Siri. Good evening, everyone. My name is Brad Bradford. I'm running for mayor, and it is a huge honor to be here with the TechTO crowd tonight. Alex, Jason, thanks for bringing us all together, and thank all of you for showing up. How did I get into city politics? Well, I'm an urban planner by training. I actually used to work in the chief planner's office at City Hall, and I spent a few years there and found myself kind of frustrated with the endless debate, the delay, the deferral, the lack of decisions, and the lack of moving things forward. And, you know, I'm a 1986 model. That makes me 36. And so when we talk about housing, when we talk about affordability, when we talk about getting around the city, those issues really resonate with me. That frustration resonates me. I'm living it. I understand those challenges. And I think too often we have a city council that's actually very disconnected from that. I had a conversation with Valerie. Valerie from Calgary just moved here. Where's Valerie? Yeah, right there in the back. Thanks for coming out. Let's welcome Valerie from Alberta, made the journey here to Toronto. Love it. But she said to me, you know what, Brad? I'm actually thinking about moving back because it's hard to afford to live here. And for too often, you've had councillors, you've had elected officials who have made a career about saying no to housing. Folks who are far too willing to bend the knee to allow vocal minority of folks who don't want you to live in their neighborhood. My journey and my time in office, I've been pushing back on that. And I understand that the tech sector, whether you are a founder or a funder, there have been some challenging times, but it's a resilient community. It's a community based and built on resilience. And the promise that if you want to come to Toronto, we want to have you. It is a competition for talent, for time, and for treasure. And if we want this city to grow, and the tech sector is a huge part of that, if we want to continue to have prosperity in this city, we need to make sure that you have a place to live here. So that's more infrastructure, that's more housing, as someone who's actually dedicated to taking action to getting this city moving. That's why I'm running for mayor. Less talk, more action. Let's get it done together. Thanks, guys.
Got a tagline. All right. While Brad's taking his picture, I am going to call to the stage Josh Matlow. Oh, so nimble.
So nimble. Thank you, Siri. Well, hi, everyone. I'm Josh Matlow. And this morning, I went and actually started a little startup of my own, which is my mayoral campaign. By the way, votematlow.ca. I took a cue from some of you. And I really believe that we can create a far better city, a city that supports those who are most vulnerable, a city that actually addresses our problems. But we can't do it if we don't become intentional about our investments. Investments into people who are living in our streets and in our parks, into the root causes of violence rather than just reacting, into ensuring that we can attract people to our city to work and live here, along with supporting those who live here today, by addressing the fact that rent and mortgages are through the roof, our transit system is not safe, our roads are crumbling, our services are declining, and for far too long, we've been pretending that everything is fine. But I think that all of us know that we can do better. And my job as mayor will be to work with each of you to make sure that your ideas come to City Hall and we make a difference that actually matters to people. You know, how can we compete, for example, even in the tech sector in particular, with cities like Austin or Miami or places in California, if our quality of life continues to decline? How do we compete? How do we retain talent? How do we attract talent if people don't want to live in our city? If it's hard, for example, if you're a young parent to get your kid into a rec program, if you're a young person who cannot afford to live in this city, and if the services that you rely on every day are not there when you need them. So my focus will be to work with you to make sure that not only do we support the tech sector, that we support our economy, but also we make sure that those who have been left behind, who have been left out of that dream, finally have a place. Anyway, I just want to conclude by thanking you very much for inviting me. Thank you to Robin. Thank you to TechTO. And I look forward to seeing you all. And by the way, tech at its best is when you connect people. And I just noticed that a lot of you are here, not just to listen to us talk with you, but to also connect with each other. And it really is a pleasure to connect with you tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. Thank you, Josh. Okay, before we do our lightning round, we have one final speaker. I'm very excited to welcome Chloe Brown. Oh, photobomb it. Do it.
Good evening, everybody. I'm so happy to be here because, as you can imagine, I am too tired of the political rhetoric and I just want to get straight into the issues. One of City Council's, Queen Park's, and Parliament's biggest problem is that they don't invest in IP, UX, UI, and they don't really understand the difference between technology, softwares, and hardwares. And we see this from the time that I had a clip-on pager with BlackBerry through my mom to now where we have smartphones and there has been little to no investment in the intellectual property that people produce. Intellectual property is a human resource and we do not treat it the same way that we treat natural resources that come out of the ground or even the relationships that we have. We don't invest in them. And we see this across the city with a lack of digital literacy across generations. If the city was really serious about creating these solutions in housing and transit, they would look at their own data and actually give you the money to create user-friendly platforms and applications that get into the hands of residents. They would actually be setting up user testing for you across neighborhoods. They have the ability to do this, they have the money to do this, but they don't understand what tech is. And that is very clear from being a kid that has grown up in this city and watched tons of entrepreneurs leave, tons of artists leave, because the city loves to talk a big game, but they can't pay for it. And this is why, as a young person, I'm running, because I work at the Future Skills Center, and I had a portfolio of 26 projects across Canada who worked through the pandemic to deliver digital solutions. What that looked like was digital microfactories, which is one of my favorite products that I would love to bring to Toronto to relocalize supply chains. Now more than ever, manufacturing has been you can shrink it. And there's this opportunity to relax zoning so that manufacturers, maker spaces, 3D printing, and all the tools that we can need are closer to home. I just want to close by saying that there is this opportunity here to spread the wealth from downtown to North York, Scarborough, and Etobicoke, and make sure that there's science, technology, engineering, arts, and math for everyone, not just an exclusive few. Thank you.
Great job. Okay, let's hear it for all the candidates. That's a hard thing to do. We're going to do one more picture, and then we're going to bring people up for the lightning round. I encourage all of you to ask more questions for the candidates. Obviously, there's a lot to cover. There's a lot of thinking here. This is a big decision. Reach out, get involved. I used to work for a mayor, and we had a meeting with a bunch of VCs from San Francisco probably like 12 years ago. And they said to me, Toronto has an opportunity to avoid the mistakes that San Francisco has made, but you need to do it now. We are already behind. There's a lot of work to do. This is an important decision. So I encourage you all to learn more about these candidates and the other people who are running. Okay, now we're going to wing it a bit, guys. Are you ready? If you could all join me on the stage in any order, it doesn't matter. We're going to give you a whiteboard, and we're going to do some lightning round questions. Hop up there, guys. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to ask a question. It's kind of going to be like Jeopardy a little bit. I'm going to ask a question. You're all going to write down your answers, and then I'm going to say go, and you're all going to reveal them to the crowd. It's going to be so exciting. And also, we're going to create some content for social media, because I know that's very important to Jason, so I try and do my best to create those moments for him. Are we all ready? You will be judged on penmanship. You won't at all. Okay. Write down your number one priority as mayor. Can't be more than like 5 words. Oh yeah, sing it. Na 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 na. You done, Josh? No. All right. 1, 2, 3. All right. Gil Penalosa, equity. Brad Bradford, more housing. Mitzi Hunter, safety. Chloe, community land and data trusts. Josh, affordability. And Rob, safety on the TTC. Okay. Erase your boards. Do we have Kleenex or anything that they can erase? Oh, you can do it. Okay, I'm just making these up as we go along. What is, I'll grab that for you. What is the app on your phone that you use the most? Or, you know, what's your favorite channel on TV? All right. Everybody ready? Go. Twitter, Spotify for Brad, Twitter for Mitzi, Reddit. Big Reddit crowd in Toronto. Waze and Twitter, but my team wants to take it away from me, and rightly so, Josh. All right. In one word, describe your leadership approach. I'm going to pick one of you to do one of these. Get ready. Okay, are we ready? One word. Josh, it's one word. I see you writing a lot. All right, hold them up. That's 2 words, Gil. Listen and do. Strong, unifier, coordinated, determined, fearless. All right. If you could run one technology or private sector company, what company would it be? What technology or like private sector company would you run if you could run any of them? Oh, girl, surprise me. If you say the Starship Enterprise, oh my God. Are we ready? Okay, go. Rob, Shopify, Well Simple, interesting times. Stark Industries, Nix. Nix is a good one. Borrowell, Well-being. All right, that was fun. What is the most important thing to think about when you're hiring? If you're hiring your team at the City of Toronto, what are you going to be looking for, the people you assemble around you? You guys look so cute right now. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. You're looking for doers? I'm going to let you guys explain this a little bit really fast.
Well, because nothing is happening. We need people that find solutions to problems because too many people are finding problems to solutions.
I got a lot of problems.
Giving us the mic. Curiosity. You want people who care. You have to be curious if you care.
Talent, skills, bring them all together. They're all different. That's a team.
Willingness to upskill or cross-train means that you're open to accepting that maybe your solution might not be the one, but someone else might have it. So you can stack your solutions on top of each other for a whole change.
Do we have the right ingredients to get results for the people we serve?
C word, character. The most important thing in leadership is character. How do people make decisions? How do they consider the impacts of those decisions? Are they considerate? Are they honest? And are they going to work from 9 to 5 and not, go off for long lunches?
Or are they the other C word? 2 more. I got 2 more. All right. What is your predominant means of traveling around the city? Do you drive? Do you ride a bike? Do you walk? Do you take the bus? Do you ride one of these stupid things that Jason rides? I've never seen you on that in the street, actually. Yeah, I've heard that. He set your house on fire. Okay, ready? Let's see. Walk and bike, drive from Scarborough. There's no other way. Trails and TTC. Thank you for reading that. Walking, TTC, and car. Okay, and our final question. Can you write down the URL for your campaign website, please, and or any handles you want this crowd to know? Yeah, draw a little picture. While they're doing that, I want to thank this crowd, and I want you all to thank all of you for being interested. This is so important. I know it seems off topic sometimes with tech, but it is not. This is an important moment in our city, and I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope you learned something, and I hope you will learn more. So while they do this, let's give a big round of applause to everybody. Call them up. Oh, this is a long URL. robdavis.ca, votematlow.ca, Chloe Brown, number 4 TO, mitziformayor.ca, bradbradford.ca, gilformayor.ca. Check them out and more. Thank you guys. Have a great night.
All right, was that fun? Yeah. We've never done that. Yeah, what, you have an announcement? The question was, what about audience questions, which is itself a question. And I'm here to say that's not what these guys just put in their papers like 3 hours ago. So the good news is I think some of them will be hanging out with us at the after party where you can have one-on-one chats. And you know what? If we like this, we can do it again. I promise. But we've got some tech related content to do. We've had tons of awesomeness. A huge one more time a thank you. We've never done this before. These guys killed it. That was awesome. Okay, Alex, I would like you to introduce the speakers for this evening. So with the same excitement and intensity that you welcomed your mayoral candidates, can you welcome to the stage the brains behind the TechTO operation? It's Alexander, PRQST, Norman. Keep the energy up. Keep it up. Here we go.
You know, I gotta say, my dad's gonna be very disappointed to watch this one. He's been asking me to run for mayor for like 20 years, and he's gonna see all the other candidates and be very disappointed. So some context for the speakers tonight. Once a year, we do Best of TechTO. So we like you to learn stuff when you come here. But once a year, we take founders and other people that have had success and have had a good year. This year's been tough in tech, but there's always good news because there's always people building stuff. So our first speaker is someone we've had speak a few times at TechTO, Eva. She is the co-founder of Two Small Fish. She was the head of community, the first head of community for Wattpad, and just a huge support of the ecosystem. Eva, come share some knowledge.
Is my mic working? All right. Well, before you turn on the ticker, you know, Jason was kind of like asking people to kind of like and ask and stuff like that. I said, stop the ticker. So stop this ticker. I am one of the very few people in this room who write checks. So if you're building $1 billion company, make sure you talk to me before you go. You don't want to miss this opportunity. All right. So as Alex mentioned, I am Eva Lau. I'm an entrepreneur turned investor, mentor to startups, board member, of course, a wife, and a mom. So last Christmas, my family went to Florida and we visited these Universal Studios. We had a great time. But honestly, I have to tell you, I set out from most of the roller coaster rides because I don't like roller coasters. But then my daughters kept begging me, Mommy, come on, try. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll give it a try. Whew, I scream all the way. Do I like it right now? No, I don't. But I certainly can see the parallel of riding on roller coasters and being an entrepreneur. So I have been investing in transformative early stage technology companies for almost a decade. And you know, as the introduction say, I helped build Wattpad from its infancy and turn it into hundreds of millions of users type kind of a business. So I've come across with many founders. And they are usually very gritty, ambitious, and they have a vision and they just want to kind of execute and get it done like right away. But I got to tell you the hard truth. There's so many factors that affect the ability to execute and deliver on their vision. So I'm going to sum it up into 3 factors: technology trends, market forces, and access. Oh, how come it didn't wrap right correctly? But that's okay. So technology trends, you know, all these 3 factors are very much like how we ride a roller coaster. They create all these thrills and excitement, but many times they will create forces that you want to throw up. You're like, what the hell? This is like crazy. Very much like how you ride a roller coaster. You didn't know that the next drop or next twist until it really hits you. So be prepared. Technology trends. Well, I've been in the industry for more than 2 decades, and I have witnessed, multiple technology inflection points. And they don't actually come by often. Once or twice per decade, that's pretty much it. So if we look back during the success of Wattpad, they certainly leveraged the mobile trends and the social trends, and then later on, using AI to disrupt the entertainment industry. That's how they got the exit in 2021 by Naver for over 600 million US. So from standing where I am today right now, I totally can see how the large language model AI, how the advancements in Web3, and the continuous demand in compute power will generate the next generations of innovations. So obviously, not everyone can see all these trends during the early onsets. So what do? Well, when you start seeing it take off, when it's climbing, well, take advantage of it. Make sure you leverage those trends. So these 3 trends that I've just talked about, I personally think this is the best time for any founders to build a massively successful business by leveraging these trends. Well, what comes next is the most unpredictable factor that will make us want to throw up every single time. I'm pretty sure, a few weeks ago, there must be many of us who had been hitting the panic button like many times. I certainly did. It felt like 2008 all over again, wasn't it? For those people who have been in the industry longer, I got to tell you, the dot-com burst, pretty much like this. So, no one can predict these forces. So what do entrepreneurs do? To weather every single economic downturn, build real products, achieve strong product market fit. Most importantly, build very defensible moat so no one can turn your customer. You defend your turf. Deliver real values to your users that they can never otherwise have. That's what you need to build. Last but not least is access. I'm sure that the founders in the room know that you need capital, you need expertise, and many connections who will open you doors to potential investors or even customers. So all these journeys are also very, very, I would say, chaotic. Well, Leroy may disagree otherwise, but let him talk a little bit later. But when you fundraise, it's really like riding a roller coaster. You have people saying, yeah, it's very interesting, very interesting. And well, you know what? Until you get the term sheet, you have no money in the bank. Someone can actually give you a term sheet, and guess what? The market crash. Sorry, it was just a fluke. There goes the money too. So what does that mean to you? Founders need to take every single opportunity to go network. Don't overlook opportunities that you can meet other founders and learn from their mistakes and learn from their success. And also take every opportunity to pitch to the person right next to you. Guess what? That person can be saying, I know Eva Lau from Two Small Fish. I think she will like it. That's how you kind of get all these access, by creating a community around you. So since you're already in this room, I know you all know the importance of access and networking. So I'm not going to preach to the converted. So honestly, being an entrepreneur, it's really like riding a roller coaster. You're filled with so much excitement and thrill, but I guarantee you there'll be so many moments that you just want to throw up and ask yourself, like, why the hell am I doing this? Because I certainly have gone through that many times. But believe me, this journey is going to be so much fun, so much excitement. Some of you probably will get addicted to that experience and become a serial entrepreneur. So during that process, don't forget to enjoy the ride.
Thank you, Eva. Stay on stage. We have some questions. So I want to start with one question while Jason, we'll take 2-3 questions, but
all right, sure.
did you use any generative AI to make any of the images?
I'm sorry?
Did you use generative AI to make any of the images?
Well, no. Well, actually, a little bit. But the thing is, I got to put the technology to test, right?
Cool. We'll take 2 to 3 questions. Jason's roving around. Put up your hands.
You talked a lot about external factors, but when it comes to like internal challenges in building a startup, what's the biggest one you feel people don't pay attention to?
I think the biggest challenge for internally is actually the founder themselves. I've seen many, many times founders stuck at the initial role, either as an engineer, or as a salesperson, or as some sort of like a business background, and they stuck at the paradigm, and they don't necessarily grow beyond that. And that's horrible. Think about it when you actually build a company. When you're just the founder and maybe with 2 other people, you just have to go, hey, yo, can you check in the code? Or, hey, this is not working. Can you fix it? You grow to 10 people, you don't talk like that anymore. Well, maybe you still do a little bit, but hey, you now have 10 people to manage. If you want to grow to a Liran size of a company, he can't just get, hey, yo, can you do that? Because he has to groom people to do better things. He has to make sure that there's money in the bank, that he has to go talk to investor all the time. Well, he may disagree, but you need to do a lot of things that is actually not what you have been trained to do. So internal challenges is the not growing type of entrepreneur is the biggest danger for any company. Just like the city, mayoral candidates right now, they may be very comfortable with what you have been doing in the past, but guess what? When you're leading the big city, one of the biggest in the North America is no joke. Right, Siri? Thank you.
Last question.
Hey, Esra here. You said founders should build strong moats. So how, in your opinion, they could do that? And what, in your opinion, constitute a strong moat?
So strong moat, I actually have an asset framework created specifically for network effects. So, I've gone through that, journey to talk about it. You can look it up from TechTO archives. The woman in yellow dress, as a photographer still remember me, that was the asset framework. You can look it up. But basically what you need to do is you need to think about that you're not in the business of selling hotcakes. Do you know what that means? You sell hotcake, someone stand right next to you. Hotcakes over here too. Bigger, cheaper. Come. Your hotcakes is no longer valuable. Your LTV, because this person's CAC, it's basically right next to you. So for you to have, a business that you don't have people churn, you have to lock them in. So how do you lock them in? It's more than just I am cheaper and more bells and whistles. It's they found value on your platform they cannot find anywhere else. Jenny is here, my good friend Jenny. But anyway, Wattpad is exactly like that. When you created the largest storytelling platform, there may be someone completely, use the same source code, but they can't find the story elsewhere. All good?
Awesome. Thank you so much. A round of applause. Because I have 30 seconds before our next speaker, I can plug the two of the top tech podcasts in Canada. You can hear the world. Jason, I can't verify the world. If you want to understand what's actually driving the tech news in Canada, listen to Quick Takes. Comes out every 2 weeks. And more importantly, if you want to know about the real founder's journey, we go 45 minutes, 50 minutes in with different founders and tech leaders in the ecosystem that have made an impact. Check them out wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple, Spotify, or if there's any other places, I'm not sure where. Our next speaker is Liran. Originally from Israel, a serial entrepreneur. Attended the school here. I think you did CDL as well, if I remember correctly, and has raised a lot of money and had lots of success with his new company, Bench Size. So come up and share us.
Sorry. Hi, everyone. First of all, thanks for inviting me and for having me. Eva is 100% right because I'm going to say the exact opposite of what she said. So she knows me very, very well. And when I first got the email of doing this, I was like, oh, what I'm going to talk about in 5 minutes that's actually valuable, what can I communicate? And there's something that I think I do pretty well, and I think other people don't. So I actually wanted to share that with you. All and it's about fundraising. And as you just mentioned, my name is Liran Belanzon. I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders of a Toronto-based company, well, now pretty much global company called Benchsci. Raised over $130 million over the past 7 years in 7 funding rounds, and we're over 400 people. And over the last 7 years, we basically taught a computer how to understand science like a PhD scientist would. And we then built a platform on top of a knowledge graph that now serves 14 of the top 20 global pharmaceutical companies, from the biggest Japanese, Swiss, Danish, British, and American companies. So instead of basically sharing with you what I know about fundraising, my first ask is to forget everything you know about fundraising, because most of what you know is probably shared by investors. And that perspective is very different from a founder perspective. And when you have investors give you advice, usually they say the following, which is talk to as many people as much as you can, share with them everything about your company. They also say things like build relationships. Relationships are really important before someone invests in you, and they have to get to know you, and so on and so on. And they'll even say things like send them constant updates about your company, add them to a newsletter, and keep them posted about how things are progressing so they can have many, many different data points around your company so they can see how you get started and where you are today. And they can see, oh, wow, this is a wonderful, wonderful team. But the reality is, and I'm talking from experience, unfortunately, this leads to a really, really, really long process where you end up putting all of your resources in talking to investors instead of actually building your company. It actually leads to a bad valuation, and actually is a massive, massive, massive time suck on you. And that is happening because by talking to everyone whenever and showing them insights about your company whenever, you're not really creating any urgency, because why would someone invest if you're just talking to more people and don't have any offers at the same time? Not really creating any competition, because in reality, you might get one term sheet, but not going to get many if you're just talking to people on and on and on and on and on. And you're also not telling the best story. We had candidates here today sharing their perspective on what needs to be done in the city to make it better. I'm sure that's not the first version, but they shared the best version in front of us so we can hear the best story so we can vote for them. And with your company is not very, very different. So having done this 7 times and raised over $130 million in Canada, which is not easy, and I moved here 8.5, 9 years ago. I've never done this before. I have no network. I knew pretty much no one. Eva took a meeting with me early on through CDL because I bugged her a lot via email. But this really came from trial and error and from doing this many times to figure out the right way to do it. So how to raise money fast, efficiently, while maximizing the valuation for your company. And the reason I think this is so important is because I hope a lot of people here in the room have really big dreams around companies they're going to build. Hopefully those companies are going to be very disruptive. I'm assuming if they're going to be disruptive, they're also going to cost a lot of money to build, and you're going to have to fundraise money. And in my opinion, that's probably the most important thing that a founder CEO needs to do, making sure you have resources to execute on your vision. So how do you do this? Don't talk to everyone. Pick 20 investors max that you think will be a great fit for your company, and make that list and put it aside. 2, don't build relationships. Don't talk to them before you're actually ready to fundraise. The reality is, and investors can tell you differently, is that they don't need more than 3 weeks to make a decision. That is true for $1 million check, and that's also true for a $100 million check. In 3 weeks, every investor should be able to make a decision whether or not they want to invest in your company. And if they don't make a decision at the end of those 3 weeks, the answer is they do not want to invest in your company, and just going to be a very, very long maybe. It's going to suck all of your resources. Your goal is to get people to a yes or a no, not a very slow maybe that's just going to suck all of your resources as a company. And the third thing is pitch everyone together within 1 week. Why is that so important? Because by doing that, you're creating 2 things. Urgency, because people know you're talking to other investors. And hopefully you have a really good story that at the end of this process, you'll create competition. because you have more than one term sheet or an offer that comes out at the end of this. So take a leap of faith, trust me on this, give it a shot, and see what happens. And thank you.
Let's see if we have some questions. And just again, in case people didn't hear it, how much have you raised so far?
$130 million.
So this is a tested and true way to raise.
7 times, yeah. First time I did it wrong, 6 out of times I did it right.
Yeah, I think we actually have a live stream recorded where you talk about how everything you did wrong. So if you want to know how you did wrong, we'll put it like we'll share it with social media. Jason.
Hi there. So I wanted to ask, like you said, 1 million to 100 million, but at the really early stage, like when you're just ideating, would the same process work, or you still need just the deck and finalized at that point?
I would say even more than later on, because there's really no data. So there's really not a lot of due diligence to do. It's basically much you and the idea that you have and some high-level proof points, but it's much, much faster in the early stages than in the more advanced stages, because if it's more the advanced stages, people can see if your story is correct or not, because you have a product in the market, is traction, you're going to talk to all of your customers, figure what is happening and what is real and what is not. So there's actually more work to be done in a later stage than the early stage.
Hey there. So on your cap table, you have money from US and both Canadian and US VCs.
Yeah.
How's your experience differed raising money cross border?
I would say that I think that at this stage, if you asked me that question 7 years ago, I would give you a different answer. I think today there is no difference. I think the difference is the partner, even more than the fund. At the end of the day, you work with people. You can have an amazing fund and a very shitty partner that you end up working with, and vice versa. A very shitty fund, but an amazing human being on the other side. You'll get higher valuations in the Valley area than even on the East Coast in the States. But you get the best valuation if you run a process like I just shared with you.
Hey, thanks for all that information. That was awesome. What's the best way to find 20 investors that are like a good fit that you would want to pitch to within a week?
At which stage of company? Let's say you're just starting out, or you're
Yeah, let's say within a like fairly fresh, within a year or two, kind of thing.
Right. So,
or would it matter, or is that something that you'd have to consider as well?
For sure. I would, if it was me and I would do this again, I would look, okay, what am I focused on? Which investors out there are interested in this? Specifically, which partners are interested in the space that I'm operating in, and have a thesis on it, basically some sort of perspective on it that aligns with mine. Those are the people you're most likely to win, and you can figure all the stuff on Google or ChatGPT even, who knows.
Sorry, before I get back to Jason, I'm going to ask, is there any resources in particular you use?
Yeah, Google.
Not ChatGPT.
Could you spell the URL for everybody, just so?
But when you get further, A, B, you just ask your investors as well and compile a list together. I have a running list in the past 7 years of people I think might be a good fit for the company. And every time before we fundraise, I circulate that with the entire board and we align on a list. Because a lot of people know things about partners and VCs that are not online. So basically you back channel it with your investors, but at a later stage. Early stage, I would just do what I just shared.
We've got 2 more questions.
Hi, Liron. I've actually followed Bensai from the beginning. Not the beginning, but very early days, and have used your product as well. To people who don't know Bensai, it's really disruptive in the space. People love it, whoever's used it. My question for you is, how do you find those specific 20 investors? Like, I know somebody asked a question, but in your niche specifically, or in other niches where it's not that popular?
For sure. So I don't. That's the reality. If you look at a space, we operate the intersection of AI, biology, and SaaS. There are no investors in that space. So for me, what was the adjacent to that? It's either tech or biotech. Biotech was a terrible fit. So it was tech, and people with, for example, within tech, we sell to big pharma. So tech enterprise, for example, SaaS. So it's close enough. But that just made it so much harder at the beginning, especially if you're doing something in an unproven market. That just makes it a bit harder. You can do it. It's just you have to go really hard at that. That's the reality.
Last question.
I have 2 very small questions. So I have 2 half questions. Sorry. Okay. So the first one is I have I have a list of some family offices. Some have reached out to me. And what's the difference between dealing with a family office and a big VC?
short one after that.
What's the difference? There's a lot of differences, and it depends what you're looking for. If you just want to check and that is it, you can go to family office. If you're looking for something more, that's a signal to the market, that's expertise, that's help with fundraising afterwards and so on, I would go to an investor, but it just depends on the specific context of your situation, right, and what you're looking for.
Yeah. And another super short question. I'm doing a really small startup, kind of like pitch competition type of thing. Would you like to be a judge?
To be a judge.
You seem pretty cool.
Pick 20 judges, get your deck ready, and give yourself a week. All right, give them a round of applause.
We have a fireside chat coming up before that, though. We want you to learn something new, but we want you to meet someone new, and you may have not had time for that. So we're going to give you 3 minutes to turn to your right or left and talk to someone you didn't know before and meet them. And then when we get back here, Jason may have a quiz for one of you. So spend 3 minutes getting to know someone new.
You have 1 minute left. If you haven't asked the other person what they're doing, now's the time. It's polite to have conversation go both ways. All right, folks. That's enough meeting new people. That's enough socializing. We need to learn. All right, folks. It's not an emergency unless you consider what you are about to listen and hear an emergency. Emergency of knowledge. A crisis of content. Huh? Okay, it's happening one last time. This gentleman had some serious flashbacks. You okay? All right, guys, listen up. Last thing before we do our last fireside chat, you guys have been unbelievable. You've had 60 minutes of content. Phone is on silent. If you haven't already, look to the person next to you. They have a name tag. Go to LinkedIn. Add that person on LinkedIn if you haven't done it already. These are your new best friends. These are your networks. Open them up. Get that name in there. I'm sure everyone put their full name and last name in there. And while you do that, we're going to do some skill testing questions. All right, listen up. We have some more time to meet new people and grow our networks very soon. But listen to this. Did you guys know each other?
Now we're closer.
You just met. All right. So up we go. We're doing the skill testing question. Here is a real friendship that we just made. Marie, you want to start?
In trouble.
don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm Marie, and I just met Catherine tonight. So Catherine's like super early founder, and she works with doctors, and it sounds amazing what she's working on.
Wait a second. Catherine, how accurate was the pitch that Marie just gave?
Excellent, as you would expect.
All right, give her a round of applause.
So Marie is here tonight. She works for C100. She helps early stage companies up to Series A and beyond in getting themselves going and making sure they get the skills they need.
And have you added each other on LinkedIn? Unbelievable. Give them a round of applause for sharing. I know that I could have chosen any of you and you would have done just as good of a job. All right, we have a fireside chat. I'm super excited. I'll let Alex. Is there someone walking away with it? Was it the candidate who had the sign? Was he walking away with my?
Okay, thanks, Jason. The fireside today is with Hussein, founder of super.com. I just want to do some audience participation. Who's heard of super.com?
Amazing. At least a
Okay.
few people.
You know, and I think we'll get into that in a bit as we go through this. So it's great doing a fireside because I can't butcher the introduction. So Hussein, can you just introduce yourself?
Sure. I thought you were supposed to do that for me. Hi, everyone. My name's Hussein. I am a repeat tech entrepreneur. So this is my second time. My first shot was a company called Ad Parlor. It was a Facebook ad optimization company. Ended up building that company completely bootstrapped. I know we talk a lot about fundraising, but I did that completely bootstrapped. Ended up selling that company to Ad Knowledge. Stayed on there for a few years, took some time off, like did some volunteer work, tried to like figure out what I want to do in life. And I decided, surprise, I wanted to start another company. So about 6 years ago, I started this company, and it was initially called Snap Travel. And it was about booking a hotel room over messaging. So you pick up your phone and you send a text and you say, hey, I want to book a hotel, and we'd send you great hotel deals. So we'll go into the story, but fast forward about 6 or 7 years, we've rebranded the company. We are now Super or Super.com. We still have Super Travel, which was formerly Snap Travel, but we are now also in commerce. We are in fintech. And what we're really building is a savings super app for the everyday American. So they can go in there, they can save money on hotels, they can save money on shopping, they can use their card to earn cash back, to build credit. So really it's that everyday American can go and use the savings super app to save across everything they buy.
I love that introduction because you've just teed up all my questions.
Yeah, no more questions.
So let's go back to Ad Parlor. Before that, you were working at Bell. You know, what was the insight that led to Ad Parlor and gave you the confidence to go becoming a founder?
Yeah, I mean, I get that question a lot. And for the early founders, I was in a very fortunate position in that I lived in my parents' basement and I had no expenses, right? So I graduated from Waterloo, studied computer science. I worked at Bell as an engineer. And the number one thing I thought to myself was, I fucking hated working for a big company. So that was like obvious. And then number two was, what's the worst case scenario? And I said, worst case scenario, if I try this out and it doesn't work, I'll just flash my Waterloo computer science degree and go get another job as a developer, right? So it was kind of like a risk-free option in a way. So I was like, I'm going to go do this. And fortunately, within the first kind of 4 to 6 months, that company started to take off, and it's a great decision.
So what led to the insight though? You explained like how you could get out for free.
Yeah. Okay. So the insight was, this was around the time when people started building Facebook desktop games. So I don't know if anyone remembers like Mafia Wars and Farmville. This was like a long time ago. But I just started building games for fun. And then I was like, how do I make money off my game? Because that's the first thing you think about. How do I make money? And there was no like ad network focused on Facebook games. So I just decided to start building it. And I was like, let me just build this ad network. And it wasn't, I guess, a crazy insight. It was just kind of serving my own purpose. And I started to build this ad network, and maybe I'll fast forward just a little bit. What ended up happening is Facebook's ad platform really started to evolve. And then at some point they opened up the Facebook ads API. So you could like programmatically create ads and delete ads and make modifications. And we were fortunately one of the first few companies to get access to the ads API. And I think your next question that you were probably going to ask me is like, how, like, what was the secret? Like, how did this succeed? And if I'm very honest, a lot of it was just the right business at the right time. So at that time, investors were pummeling money into e-commerce companies, gaming companies, online companies, and then these companies were going and pummeling all their money and shoving all their money into Facebook ads. And there were only like 10 companies in the entire world who optimized Facebook ads. So kind of all 10 of our companies just kind of lifted at once. Obviously, there was a lot of execution and a lot of hard work, but we joked around in that we didn't need a sales team. We needed like an order taking we need order taking people, because you get a company, they get funded, whatever, $50 million. They'd go to Facebook and they'd say, we want to spend money. Facebook would point them to us and say, hey, there's a company that's really good at optimizing on our platform. So we just like take orders, and that's how the company grew. So a lot of it was just the right business at the right time.
So you're in the envious position where any founder in this room would like to get to. Basically, product market fit. You can't handle the business, or maybe you could handle the business, but there's a lot coming in, and you exit. Why'd you exit?
Oh yeah. So the exit was, it was probably more timing than anything else. So we started the company at the right time when Facebook ads were just starting to take off. And I actually think we exited the company at the right time, because after we sold the company, or shortly thereafter, Facebook really, two things. One, they opened up the ads API. So there were like hundreds and hundreds of more competitors. But then two, they just started building all the optimization technology that we built, like directly into the platform. So right now, do people advertise on Facebook over here? Some people. There should be more. But if you do, you'll see that like most of it can be done directly on their platform. You can just go and be like, this is what I want. I want leads. I want conversions. Here's how much I want to pay. Like, go. Whereas before you couldn't do that. So it was just good timing to start the company, good timing to exit the company.
And then one last question before we move on to your current company. What was your biggest lesson learned?
Yeah, I would go back to that first thing I said, which is about timing, and you know, there's, I think Ava talked about, you know, a couple of times in a decade you have this like kind of technology change or advantage, and like it was really being at the right spot at the right time, right? So like mobile was taking off, Facebook was taking off, Facebook ads were taking off, like all these things just kind of lifted the company. So really think about, you know, moving with the trend versus trying to fight against the trend.
Okay, so
like you wouldn't go right now and try and start like another Groupon, right? Because you're like, hey, at that time, daily deals companies were great, and if you tried to do that, unless you're doing something completely different with a completely different advantage, if you're, you know, Temu and you're doing something like mobile first social shopping deals, that's different. But if you're just trying to build another daily deal site, you probably wouldn't do that right now.
Just a side note, Temu seems to be doing something right, because my daughter downloaded and has been like spamming everyone in the house to get the referral code, get free stuff. So started the right time, sold the right time. You know, could be on the beach, get the itch. So what was the inspiration, or how did you know it was the right time to start something, which was, I guess, let's call it at that time was a travel company, the Snap Travel?
Yeah, so I'll give you a little bit of background there. So as mentioned, I did take some time off, right? And I really thought about what I wanted to do, and yeah, I had the options, right? Do I want to be an investor? Do I want to be a philanthropist? Do I want to be, you know, all these ideas? Do I want to just be on vacation? Which kind of it's fun, but after about 6 months, 8 months, it's not that fun anymore. But the biggest thing for me was that I was still young and energetic, physically, mentally, and excited, that I just knew I wanted to go through the journey one more time, and I wanted to be an entrepreneur one more time. Way too early to retire. So once I kind of decided on that, then it was not what do I do, it's like who do I do it with? Because I think a co-founder is so key and critical. I know there's a lot of very successful solo founders, and some people can do it. For me, the co-founder is key. So my co-founder from my last company, he kind of still wanted to hang out and take time off and do other random stuff. So I was like, okay, I need to find another co-founder. And that's when I met my co-founder for this company, who's Henry. He was an engineer at Google. He was also like, I don't like working for a big company anymore. And he was looking to start something. He was looking for a co-founder. It kind of worked out. We had a mutual friend who introduced us when I was at an event in San Francisco. And that's when we're like, hey, we have the same values. We have the same like drive, ambition. We're sort of a good match. I'm more on the business side. He's more on the tech side. And we're going to go ahead and do something together. So we knew we wanted to start a company. We found each other as co-founders. He quit his job at Google. I actually moved out to San Francisco for about 6 months, 8 months, and we were like, okay, we're going to do this. And we got like a co-working space with no idea, zero idea, and we're like, let's go start a company.
And then how'd you determine what to start? Because like that sounds like a horrible idea. Let's just go start a company.
Yeah. So there's a couple of things we did. So first of all, there's this book, and everyone should write this down. It's called Running Lean by Ash Maurya. And you can actually just Google it and you'll get like the free PDF. I see some heads nodding and some people may have read it. So I'll give you the basic premise of like how to like programmatically start a company. And you're doing either a B2C idea or a B2B idea. If you're doing a B2B idea, the way it works is you pick a space, like let's say, I don't know, real estate, and you go talk to 100 real estate agents and you just ask them the same questions over and over again, basically trying to find out what their biggest problem is. By the time you get to person number 20, 25, 30, you know exactly what they're going to say. So you're going to be able to be like, I know what your 3 biggest problems are. And then what you do is you go back to those people and you present them a whole bunch of solutions in different orders and in different ways. And eventually, by the time you get to person number 10 or 20, you're like, these are the 3 biggest problems real estate agents have. Here are the 3 biggest solutions that we think can solve those problems. Here's how much they'll pay for each one of these solutions. And then you decide if you want to go and build that or not. You've already de-risked it. You know people want it. You know you have a solution for it. You know how much people will pay, and you have your first set of customers. The B2C version of that is you come up with ideas, you build landing pages, you buy ads, you drive traffic to it, and then you see if people click on the big button, right? So if you have an idea in fintech, you may like have 5 different ideas for fintech. You drive traffic to it. You see what the click-through rate is. You see what the conversion rate is. You see what people are going to pay for. Very programmatic, very uninspiring, but very sort of like data-driven. So we did all of that, and then, but going through that process and just talking to people, we kind of got blindsided by this thing called chatbots, and everyone was building a chatbot, and it was like, let's go build a chatbot. And funny how it's come full circle now with ChatGPT, but at that time, everyone was building chatbots. We happened to be talking to the ex-president of hotels.com. He was giving us some ideas about travel, but we were kind of doing the B2B process. And then we're like, fuck it, let's just try building a landing page where you can book a hotel using a chatbot. We threw it up, we drove traffic to it. We would take our phones and manually respond to people. Well, that's another thing, by the way. Everyone wants to write code. Why are people writing code if you don't know you're solving something that people want? Henry is a world-class Google engineer. I have some decent skills myself. We didn't write a single line of code. What we did is we drove people to the landing page. They would click on the ad. They would text my personal cell phone, and I would be like, hey, do you want to book a hotel? And then we'd go on like hotels.com or Expedia. We'd find hotel deals. We'd send them pictures. We'd send them prices. We'd type in their credit card number, and we'd book them a hotel. We booked our first 100 hotels completely manually without a single line of code on our personal cell phones and our personal laptops.
Love that. So you found your idea.
Yeah.
And then you did something different than the last one. Last one you bootstrapped.
Yeah.
You probably had enough money to fund this. You said, screw it, I'm going to use other people's money. Why?
Yeah, so for me, again, doing this the second time around, it just had to be bigger. It had to have more impact. It had to be more scale. It had to be just more significant. Otherwise, there wasn't really a point for me doing it personally. Like I was like, if I was gonna do it, I'm gonna do it big. And then raising money, it completely changes your mindset, right? So the first company, I'm so happy we did it the way we did it. I'm happy we bootstrapped it. I'm happy that we own most of the equity when we sold the company, if not all the equity when we sold the company. But we fought tooth and nail for every dollar. We fought tooth and nail for every employee. We'd want to hire someone and we'd be like, okay, in 3 months we can hire that person because we'll have like made enough money to be able to hire that person. Now all of a sudden you raise venture dollars, not that you can just hire people willy-nilly, but you can actually invest ahead of the revenue, invest ahead of the profits. So if you need someone or 10 people, or in our case now 250 people, you can go and hire these people and you can go and build things ahead of time and you can go and really invest.
So I want to jump forward today. Can you give us some idea of the traction you have?
Yeah, so we are about 250 people, as mentioned. We've driven over $1 billion in sales. sort of approaching probably 2 billion by the summer, over 100 million in net revenue. Travel business is doing well. The card business, so we just got into the card business. We have a MasterCard called Super Cash. We have tens of thousands of card users, and it's just kind of taken off and starting to grow. So it's been pretty humbling. I mean, $1 billion is a lot of sales. It's not a small number.
I have one quick off the schedule question list. Any rappers singing about Super Cash yet?
Sorry?
Any rappers rapping about Super Cash?
Oh
yet?
no, not yet. I hope so. Although it could be problematic, right?
Yeah,
Depending on.
you might get shorted if that happens. Just so you started off with travel. You just talked about doing fintech. Just give us a high level. Like I don't think we have the time to go on all the details.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do that later, some other time. But like, how'd you get from where you started to where you are today? Like,
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, a very good question. So for us and for everyone, it should be all about talking to customers, right? So talking to customers is the number one thing you can do. So when we started this travel business and grew this travel business, we started noticing very interesting things in the data. Most of our customers were booking like 2.5-star, 3-star hotels. They were customers who were paying with a debit card and not a credit card. They were customers who didn't just want to save, but they needed to save, right? So the difference between saving $20, $30, $50 was the difference between them going on a trip or not going on a trip. It was pretty like stark. And there's reasons for that. We're very US focused, we're very mobile focused. People who really want to save will really find the best price. Whereas I know everyone wants to save, but we'll sometimes book directly with the hotel because we want to collect points. We'll sometimes book directly, with a company like Expedia because like we trust them or whatever it is. But like when you really need to save, you need to save and you find the best price. So when we talk to these customers and we saw what they want and what they needed, we could see that they needed to save on not just hotels, they needed to save across the board. We could see that 60% were paying with a debit card and they needed access to credit or they were afraid of credit. So just talking to customers kind of led us down this path and made us realize and believe that we could do a lot more. We could help this underserved community and we could help them experience more of what life has to offer.
So I have a question about your customer base because the Valley, and I imagine in this room, lots of founders, they solve problems that impact them. And that's what we're told. And you're, to do, and you're solving a customer that's not, let's, for lack of a better word, a sexy customer. Most of the people here are not users of your product. They could be, but probably aren't because not your target demographic. So what are the benefits and challenges of building for that customer?
Yeah, so first of all, it is an underserved demographic because there's not a lot of people who go after them, right? So when you look at like the major banks, they're not trying to build a product for that customer set. So there is an advantage there. There's a big gap. There's a big hole in the market where there's just not that many people who are paying attention for them, and it's big. We're not talking about a small set of demographics. So when we look at the core U.S. population, we're talking about 83 million households who have extremely low FICO scores, another 100 million who have like okay to good FICO scores. So almost half of the U.S. is this demographic that needs. So that's one, is big. But two, I actually wanted to go talk a little bit more about the problem because it is a problem when we don't really understand the demographic, right? Because yeah, people want to build products for themselves, and it's hard if you don't really understand the demographic. As an example, we book a hotel, we walk up to the front desk, they say, "Oh, excuse me, sir, it's going to be $50 or $100 hold for incidentals." Yeah, okay, yeah, just go. Come on, where's my room key? For a lot of our customers, they can't do that. They don't have $100 to put on their credit card for incidentals, right? So it's unless you really go in deep and you understand the customer set, it's really hard to do. So one of the things we did is last year, we actually took our entire company, almost 200 people, to Las Vegas. Now people think, oh wow, Las Vegas, this sounds like a fun party, which it was. But what we did is we dedicated one entire day to put ourselves in our customer shoes. So we broke everybody up into groups of like 5 to 7 people. We gave every group an actual physical $100 check. They would walk into check cashiers all around the city, and they would go and feel what it's like to walk in and be like, I don't have a bank. My only option to cash this check is to go into this payday loan store, cash my check, see what it's like to be charged an arm and a leg just to cash a check. Then they took that money, they went to the local Walmart, and they tried to buy groceries and food for their family for the entire week with $100 that they had, brought all that food back into a conference room like this, and we sat and we talked about the experience. So like we try and do these really immersive things to put ourselves in the shoes of our customers. We don't pretend to be that customer set. We can't pretend to fully understand what they go through, but we do these things to hopefully get our people thinking in the right way and trying to understand this customer set. We do a whole bunch of other stuff. We have a panel of 200 core people in our demographic who we talk to all the time. Everyone talks to customers. I talk to customers myself about once every 2 weeks. I spend an hour getting on calls, talking directly to customers.
One more question before we open up to the audience. So first of all, I love that customer development. Can't get better examples of that. You're located Toronto and San Francisco. Lots of your executive team in San Francisco. Why is that, and what are the benefits or disadvantages of each city?
Yeah, that's a big question. I hope we have more than 5 minutes, but
Jason, 5 minutes.
Okay. I'm gonna give you a very brief. First of all, like I absolutely love Toronto. I love the city. Born and raised here. Like built both my companies relatively over here. So when pre-COVID, we were just in Toronto. Fantastic. Once COVID hit, we decided that we're gonna be fully remote and we're gonna hire the best people no matter where they find them. That was surprising. You think a travel company in COVID, yeah, that was really, really scary at that time. But now in hindsight, that was one of the best things that's happened to us because of the fact that we now have the best talent no matter where we find them. So we don't even think anymore about Toronto versus San Francisco we think like, where's the best talent? I have a lot of people who work at this company. To be honest, I'm not even sure where they are. Right. So
I'm sure your payroll does.
Yeah, my payroll does, my legal does, HR does. But like, it's to me, it's like if you're a great talent, like you're a great talent, and that's fantastic, right? So that's the first thing I would say, that it's about the best talent no matter where they are. But when you get to this large scale consumer US company, a lot of times the best leadership and experience management are in the US, right? Like we have ambitions to one day take this company public on a US exchange. Our CFO has to be an American with US experience who's worked at US companies. You can't have that in Canada, right? We have, a customer set of, over 50 million customers, over, people who have transacted with us. 95% are in the US. We need to speak to this customer set. Our chief marketing officer is going to be from the US. She came from Chase. She knows how to speak to this customer set. She understands the US banking system. Unfortunately, that person is not going to be in Canada, right? So what ends up happening is, as you get to a large scale US consumer company, a lot of our executives and a lot of our leadership team comes in the US. That being said, we still have a ton of great talent in Toronto and a ton of great talent in Canada. 95% of our engineers are still in Canada. Probably 60% of our product team are still in Canada. 60 to 70% of our ops team and finance team are still in Canada. So if you think of a 250 person company, probably have about 70% in Canada, but 30% in the US. But yes, a lot of the executive and leadership team are now Americans.
Cool. You did it under 5 minutes. I will open up to audience. Sorry, we get what? Oh, Jason wants me to be civil and say thank you. So can we get a round of applause?
Yes. Thank you.
I still have a couple more questions. So.
Thank you, Hussein. Thank you for all the comments and sharing your experiences and story with us. My question is on something you talked about earlier in your presentation there about timing. So you talked about what it was like to work with Facebook and to raise capital about, what was it, 6, 7 years ago, 8 years ago? How about the present? We're moving into economic headwinds. What is your advice for founders, but also for investors? What landmines should we be looking for in this time period? But also, what opportunities may this economic environment present?
Yeah. So the good thing about this current time is it kind of washes out the companies who are all about hype and not about the customers, right? So what happened in the past few years almost made it tougher for good companies and real companies who are building real good products with real customers and driving real revenue. Because what would happen is all the companies who were like great at waving their arms and like, you know, have a bunch of Stanford bros who are friends with them were able to raise all this capital without having a real business. So I think if you're building a real business, kind of like what Ava said, like go build something real, build real product, talk to customers, you're gonna do fine. And this is now the time to do that. You can raise money building a real company versus raising money just based on hype.
So you and I actually occupied a really small part of Toronto together. So when you were building on Liberty Village, I was building a company on Fraser, just down the street. The question is around building a travel company with a duopoly in the market between Expedia and Priceline. How did you navigate building into that duopoly market?
Ooh, yeah, I'd love to talk to you about that later. That's a tricky one. First thing to realize is it's just a massive space, right? So, you know, last year we did about $1 billion in sales. Booking.com did about 100 billion, right? So we're still like 1% of one of those companies, even at the size and scale that we're at. So there's always opportunities to do that. And then two is being able to find a niche and a competitive advantage. And again, the target demographic we were going after, our ability to sort of really focus on getting discounted rates, allowed us to kind of wedge our way in. So finding competitive advantage is realizing how big that space is. And by the way, Expedia and Booking are also friends. So like we work closely together. We buy inventory off them. They buy inventory off us. It's all we're all frenemies.
You talked a lot about user research and going to talk to your customers. So if you were to sit on a panel with a lot of like larger company CEOs and leaders, how would you convince them to get all of their teams out to talk to customers?
Yeah, so I think what it is first from the top down, you kind of have to believe in it, and I definitely do, and my co-founder Henry does. Two, we do it ourselves, like we literally talk to customers ourselves, and then three, we actually rolled out like a formal program to be able to do that. So we actually have an entire research team led by our CMO, and they set up the structure. So they basically create these groups of people. They reach out to them. They incentivize them with like, you know, $25 Amazon gift cards. They set up schedules, and if you're a leader, it makes it extremely easy. It just shows up in your calendar. Talk to customer, talk to customer, talk to a customer. You click in it, you see all the history, you see all the customer history, and you get on that call. So believing in it from the top down, and then kind of having that set up and structure, so it makes it really easy for all your leaders to do that.
Hey, Hussein. So you're fully remote, aside from bringing people together in Las Vegas for incredible experiences like that. How do you build a culture, and how do you hang on to your amazing talent?
Yeah. So our core company values, we have 6 core company values, and we talk about them all the time. So like every weekly business review, we talk about them. When we do performance evaluations, we talk about them. In the onboarding, we talk about them. The interview process, we talk about them. So we just have to like repeat them nonstop. I think the other day we did a survey, and it was a crazy survey. It was like 100 questions. But the question that had like the highest score by far was like, do you understand the company's core values? And that was like 98% or something. So we just keep like repeating them, but then living by them and really doing that. And then the other thing I found really helpful is even at this size of company, I still try and make myself personally as visible as possible. So anyone can talk to me, anyone can Slack me, anyone can get into my calendar. I then found that people were still scared to do that. So then we set up this program called the CEO Coffee Chat, where like HR could they could go to HR, and HR would they could go and put in like a 15-minute slot in my calendar, because then they felt less intimidated to do that. So like I try and make myself as available as possible, and I think by doing that, I still can't hang out with everyone, but I try and do that to maintain the culture and have people continue to think hopefully the way I do, or similar to the way I do.
Jason sat down, so I want to give you 2 more quick questions. One, are you hiring?
Yes, we are definitely hiring. Yes.
So where should people find out about that?
Super.com.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna lie. I have 2, and I'm gonna throw another question. How much do you pay for Super.com?
Ooh, I knew that question would come up. I cannot say actually, because I signed an NDA, but it was a lot of money, and it was quite interesting debate at the board level whether we should buy Super.com or not. and it was pretty split at the board level. But we ended up doing it, and I think that it's going to pay dividends. I think with a generic name like Super, having the .com definitely helps. I think when you're in fintech, there's a lot of trust that's required, and having super.com probably creates more trust than not having it. And it's going to allow us to do a lot in future branding and advertising campaigns.
I'm going to buy you a few drinks tonight to get the number. Last question. If people want to follow you, know more about you, where can they follow you?
Twitter, LinkedIn. Yeah, then my Twitter's up there, and my LinkedIn's up there. Oh, it's
Excellent.
up there.
Can I get a round of applause?
All right. Okay, I told you it would be 75 minutes of content, right? 74, 59. Huh? Came in. Yeah. How's that? Just like I guide my board for future earnings. Easy, easy does it. Hey, thanks so much for spending your Monday night with us. You know what? There are more Monday nights where you need a dose of TechTO. So open your calendar. Travel to Montreal. No, you don't have to travel to Montreal. We'll be in Montreal on April 25th. And then May 1st, can you believe it? We're going to do this all over again. That's amazing. Go techtO.org. And if you act now, will we give discounts, Alex? Yes. You heard it here first. Alex offers you all a discount if you buy very, 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 very quickly. Supplies may not last, not guaranteed. This is not a... All right. What else? Well, it's time for the after party. Thank you so much for learning with us, for growing with us, for meeting new people. We are going to head over to East of Brunswick Pub and Kitchen. Lots of you asked me, where's Brunswick? How do I go east? Which way to get there? This is a map. And you can get this map on any smartphone device. So we will see you in just minutes, in 6 minutes at East of Brunswick. And we have free drink tickets, unlimited drink tickets on Alex while supplies last. So head over there, find Alex, and we will get you your first drink on TechTO. Give everyone that you heard from tonight a round of applause. Give yourselves a round of applause, and we will see you at East of Brunswick. Play my theme music. I always thought that would work. Not sure what I was expecting. I was sort of expecting magical music.
I like how your hoverboard's tech